The Life and Times of Theodore Addison, 5th Grade Challenge by Jamaal. Friday, Part 2. When Derek arrived home as usual, he got mobbed by his rambunctious sister, Allison.
Allie, you're like a dog who hasn't seen me in days. I just went to the store. Get off.
After the family drama and delivering the groceries, he retired to his room and locked the door. Normally, at the start of the weekend, he'd watch TV and forget about everything else. But this time was special. He had to tell Ted and James what just happened.
Guys, you won't believe what just happened. Just now.
Derek started.
Amber likes me.
James interrupted.
What?
Ted and Derek shouted in unison.
She wrote me a note, folded up and threw it at me, and ran away.
What did it say? Ted asked. James took the paper out and read it to them, adding that Amber forgot to write her phone number. None of the boys had her number, nor did they know anyone who did. Just then, Derek remembered aloud that he should have gotten Diamond's number when he had the chance.
What?
Ted and James shouted in unison.
Yeah, I ran into her at the store. We talked, then she gave me a hug.
Derek answered.
Does she like you?
Ted asked.
I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask you guys. She said she always gives her friends a hug, and that I was one of her true friends. She even said I could call her Dee Dee. Dude!
James and Ted assumed that meant she liked him and started congratulating him. Suddenly, Ted's smile disappeared.
Wait. Something's not right, he shouted. Why now? Right before the competition. Why now?
James and Derek furrowed their eyebrows, realizing what Ted was implying. All of them were in the competition. Amber would directly compete with James. All of a sudden, she confesses she likes him? And she's partnering with Veronica? All of this is very suspicious.
Listen, guys, I think this might be a trap. Let me go run it by my computer and see what it spits out. I'll get back to you later with the results. For now, be on your guard. James, study. Derek, I need your help with my invention. I need you on standby,
Ted said. With that, they hung up, and Ted ran downstairs to the basement lab. It was nice walking down there with everything orderly and not dusty anymore. It was actually pretty inviting. The computer screen brightened gradually with a blue face appearing on the screen. Welcome home, Theodore. Do you have work to do? It asked.
Yeah, investigation mode.
Understood. Please list the names of the parties involved. Ted gave off the names and exhaustively explained the situation.
So, what do you think? Is this a trick, or am I just being paranoid?
Analysis complete. Results 85% probability this is Veronica's trick. 15% probability this is a coincidence, the computer stated.
What would you need to increase that probability to 100%?
A surreptitious recording of Veronica referencing Bookworm and or James.
Don't have it. For now, let's assume it is a trick. I need options.
After a few seconds of calculating a response, the computer presented its best options. Optimal option 1. Warn friends about the trick and hope they don't let the girls get too close to them. Optimal option 2. Counteract charm offensive with your own without letting the girls get too close to you. Hearing the options, Ted said,
I already did the first one. The second one, though, I was also thinking about. Okay, let's do it. Dictation mode. And let's make it look handwritten on notebook paper.
As the printer fired up, Ted cleared his throat and began.
Dear Veronica, I thought about something Mr. Gibson said yesterday, that after all we had been through, that we should be the best of friends. I'm not sure why, but you and me are so different, yet so similar. I think being friends with you would get us into so much trouble, but it would be so much fun. But we're not friends. Is there something I did that made you mad at me from the beginning? If you want, can we talk after dinner? I want to hammer this thing out. Yours truly, Ted.
As the note printed, the computer said, Very good note. It sounds genuine. Ted grabbed the paper, neglecting to tell the computer that it was sincere, but that didn't mean he couldn't use it to his advantage. If Veronica was going to play games with him, he was going to be the MVP. He walked the few blocks to her house and used his smartwatch, the Addison Taskmaster, or ATM watch, to scan Veronica's house using an infrared sensor. Sure enough, he saw what almost certainly was Veronica's figure reclining on the sofa near the door. She was probably watching TV. Ted slipped the note into the mail slot and slinked away, knowing she would hear him and stop him. As Ted neared the end of the walkway, the door flew open. "Hold it!" Veronica ordered as she held the note in her hand. "What is this about?"
Did you read it that fast?
Ted froze in place while Veronica read the note. He studied her face, waiting for that moment when she would open up to him. After all, it had to happen if she wanted to get the leg up on him. Instead, though, she scrunched up her face, as if his letter stank.
"What is this drivel you're talking about? I wish we could be friends." "Get this crap out of my face," Veronica said, balling the paper up and throwing it at him. Just then, her mom called out, asking who was at the door. "No one, Mom. He was just leaving," Veronica answered. She went back inside and closed the door, not giving Ted a chance to say anything to her. He picked up the paper ball and started to walk home, unsure of what to do. It wasn't supposed to go down this way, but before he could get far, he saw the door open again. But this time, it was Veronica's mom. "Hi, Ted," she greeted over-enthusiastically. Ted rubbed the back of his head awkwardly as he greeted her in return. "Would you wait just a minute?" she asked, and then closed the door. Inside the house, Veronica protested her mom's warm welcome of the most annoying boy she's ever met. "Mom, what are you doing talking to him? I already told you how much I can't stand him. It's bad enough I have to see him at school every day. Now I have to look at his ugly mug around my house, too?" "Veronica, remember we moved to the United States to minister to the people," she recited from memory. "Exactly. So how can you minister to people you don't like?" her mom asked. "Hey, look, that was you and Dad's deal. I didn't have a say in the matter." Miss Teal was starting to lose her patience, but kept her cool enough to put her hands on Veronica's shoulders empathetically. "Sweetheart, I know the transition has been rough for you. You were such a happy girl before we moved. But if you just give things a chance here, you'll grow to love it. Your dad and I love it already. Soon it'll feel just like home." Veronica muttered, "This place will never be my home," as her lips started to quiver. "Don't think like that, sweetie. Think about this. If we were back home, you'd have never met Diamond or taken up dancing." "But that's like one good thing out of a dozen bad things," she whined. "It's like I don't have any control over my life at all."
She started to tear up as she squatted down to the floor. Back in Hamilton, I was happy. But now we're here. And you and Dad didn't think for a minute to ask me what I thought about coming here. You just picked a city, picked a school, and dumped me off there and to deal with it. You didn't even bring me here for a visit. And now you get mad that I don't like it? But hey, it's all about what God wants, right? Just talk to God about it, right? What Veronica thinks. What does she matter?
Young lady, do not use that kind of language.
I don't care if you don't like what I said. For once, look at what you did. Veronica got up, stormed upstairs, and slammed her bedroom door behind her. Miss Teal stayed seated on the floor, wondering what, if any, merits her daughter's argument had. As offended as she was by her daughter's outburst, she had to consider that she and her husband could have done a better job acclimatizing their daughter to the U.S. Before she could think much further into the matter, she remembered that Ted was still waiting outside. She stood up and opened the door, hoping he hadn't given up and gone home. The moment she opened the door, though, Ted fell into her, and they both tumbled to the ground. He had been listening to the whole exchange, his ear pressed against the door. He nervously stood up, apologizing for crashing into her. But to Mr. and Mrs. Teal, Ted could do no wrong. For whatever reason, they always saw him through rose-colored glasses. As Miss Teal got up from the floor, she asked Ted if he wanted some hot cocoa and if she could ask him a few questions about Veronica. As she was preparing the drink, Miss Teal asked, "Ted, what's Veronica like at school, from your perspective?"
Can I be honest? Like, completely honest?
Of course.
She's a pain in the butt.
Oh.
Okay. Care to give details? It's like, when I first moved to town, from the moment we met, it was always competing and fighting. Even when we saved the city, right afterward, we went right back to fighting. There are always some pranks, but not the kind of pranks between friends. It's like I want to hurt you type of pranks. Get what I mean? So I came to try to see if we could get to the bottom of what makes us so quarrelsome, but she didn't even want to talk. If it's possible, I would like to be friends,
Ted explained. Do you like her?
No, Ted answered quickly.
You can be honest.
I mean it. I don't like her.
Then why are you trying to be friends with someone like her? If she's a pain in the butt, wouldn't you want to avoid people like that? There are tons of people who would make a better friend than her, right?
I guess you're right,
Ted replied, looking down at the swirling pattern in the hot cocoa. He took a sip, making sure it wasn't too hot, then took a big gulp. Miss Teal didn't say anything, waiting for Ted to continue his thought. Sure enough, he added,
I guess her friendship would mean more, given our history. When I first moved here, I wanted a fresh start. Then my first day of school, we saved the city together. I was practically certain we'd be friends after that. I mean, Veronica's a pain in the butt. But you could ask my dad. He says I'm a pain in the butt sometimes, too. That could work.
He continued to stare at the swirls in his cup before taking another sip. Then a voice called out, Are you done, you sap? Ted looked up from his drink, as did Miss Teal, to the kitchen door Veronica came bursting through. I heard it all. I can't believe you'd come here just to spill your guts to my mom, as if she's supposed to change anything. Miss Teal got up from the table and said,
I'm going to leave you two to talk about whatever you need to hash out.
Might as well stay since we're all eavesdropping on each other's conversations anyway, Veronica said. Miss Teal didn't answer her snarky response. She only said, we'll talk later, as she went upstairs. Veronica sat down across from Ted at the table, saying nothing but giving Ted the look of death. Ted started.
So,
You've got 3 minutes to say whatever you need to, and then I want you out. Her remark threw Ted off a bit. He stammered a bit as he tried to think of what to say. This wasn't going according to plan at all, and Ted found himself not trying to gain the advantage in the competition, but trying to actually make a friend.
I heard what you said to your mom.
I know. That's the problem.
What I wanted to say was, I'm sorry you don't like it here.
Don't need your pity, Addison. Get on with it. Ted looked straight at Veronica, trying to figure out why she was so hostile. He abandoned the idea that she would try to warm up to him to weaken his resolve in the competition. If anything, she was this close to biting his head off. Hello? Anybody home? Veronica asked, losing what little patience she had. Ted cocked his head to the side, confused. He asked,
Why do you hate me?
Veronica sat back, not expecting that question. I'm gonna need more than 3 minutes. Where do I start? First off, the first day we met, I picked on you because you were the new kid and you looked like an easy target. So that's on me. But then you started acting so cocky.
I'm so smart. Everybody look at me.
And you are smart. We get it. Everybody gets it. But you throw it in everybody's face like we should all bow down to you. Her first criticism hit hard. Ted had never connected the dots before when he bragged about what he came up with and got irritated looks from his classmates. He never knew that they were so annoyed with him that it hurt his ability to make friends. And you're so immature. 1 minute you say something smart and everybody admires you. Then you throw it in the trash with a stupid remark right after. You want to know why you and Derek and James aren't cool, but Diamond and I are? It's mostly because of you. James was always a loner. He wasn't going to get in. Derek was on the bubble, but you dragged him down with all your showboating and childish behavior. Yeah, before you, we all played pranks on each other. But when you came, you took it to another level. And if you were a class clown, that'd be okay. But you're not even funny. The hits just kept on coming, but Ted remained silent. He began to wonder why he opened this can of worms. How bad would it get before she was done with him? And don't even get me started on saving the city. I just happened to be with you when the danger arrived. But you think that because I was with you that it erases whatever reasons I had for disliking you? You must have forgotten that you shrank me and Diamond and everybody else and forced us to come help you. As if we were trained special agents. We were lucky to have gotten out alive. But you think just because you had some inventions that we were safe? What if one of us died, Ted? Did you ever stop to think about that? But here you are now, sitting in my kitchen wanting to my mom about why we weren't friends. As if being neighbors and classmates automatically means we'll be bosom buddies? Those are coincidences, not some sign from above. Frankly, I'd be better off never meeting you. And I hope to God we never have to work together again for anything, 'cause you recklessly endanger people with your hubris. Without realizing it, Veronica's fists were balled, and she was leaning forward at the edge of her seat. Ted's back was pressed into the chair, and if that wasn't there, his back would be against the wall. Veronica took a breath and relaxed a bit. As her muscles released their tension, she said, "I could go on, but there's really no point. I guess you can respond if you want, but in all honesty, there's nothing you could say to redeem yourself." As she spoke, though, Ted realized something strange. Then it clicked for him. The knowing smile crept across his face.
"I think I understand now,"
he said. "Understand what?"
"What they mean by the phrase, 'There's a thin line between love and hate.' You spend all this time and attention on me 'cause you like me."
"What?"
"It's the truth, isn't it? Isn't it? From the first day you started messing with me. Isn't that what girls do to boys they like? They pick on them, get their attention, rile them up. About 60 to 70% of the time, you're the one who starts stuff with me. If you really hated me, you'd do everything in your power to stay away from me. But you don't."
"Well, please! I do that to bring you back down to earth because you always get big-headed. You're like a helium balloon, and besides that, I'm not the one marching over to your house to find your mom to cry to her about, 'Why can't we be friends? I want to be Ted's friend so bad.' That's not me. That's you. Frankly, I'm embarrassed for you. You and I are never going to be a thing, no matter how much you try to finagle your way into it. And if you really think I like you, I'll do us both a favor and pretend you don't exist, so your helium-inflated brain doesn't read more into the situation than it really is. Now get lost! You've already taken 5 minutes of my life I can't get back!" Veronica got up from her seat without waiting for Ted to respond and walked out of the kitchen to the front door to lock him out. As Ted sat there, somewhat stunned, he tried to think if any of his theories were correct. Perhaps the other girls weren't trying to manipulate his friends. Maybe Veronica really did hate his guts. Maybe his first instincts were starting to fail him. And maybe Veronica wasn't just a rival. Maybe she was a true enemy. "Hurry up!" Veronica called out. Ted got up from the chair and walked out the back door, avoiding Veronica altogether, and went home. "Oh, whatever!" Veronica shouted as she heard the back door close. The 2-block walk home gave him enough time to process the conversation, and he began to stew. True, he went over there to gain an advantage over Veronica, which would have been their normal gamesmanship. But the encounter was hostile. And even when his aims changed and he wanted to offer her an olive branch, she smacked it away. He hated that he even tried to befriend her. When Ted arrived home, his mom spotted him and asked why he looked so upset.
"Every time I do wrong, I get killed for it. Now when I try to do right, I get killed for it," Ted said as he slammed his fist on the table. "If I use my brain, I'm arrogant. If I don't use it, I'm wasting my gifts. If I try to make friends, I'm desperate. If I don't try to make friends, I'm antisocial. Where does it end?"
Ted's mom gave her son a hug, thinking he just needed to cool down. Then she told him, "Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't win you many friends. Jesus was perfect, yet even he was still hated by some people. Don't worry about making everybody like you. Just do the right thing and let the pieces fall where they may. God will work things out for you. He honors those who honor him. Get it?"
"I guess,"
Ted said as he pulled back from her and went to his bedroom, still fuming. Back at Veronica's house, she retired to her bedroom to call Diamond about what just happened. When Diamond picked up, Veronica shouted into the phone. "That stupid idiot!" Diamond slowly put her ear back on the phone, asking what happened.
"He literally just left my house, Dee Dee."
"Who?"
"You know who. Ted. He came here and talked to my mom about us. I can't make this stuff up. And then he asked me why I hated him. I mean, because of stuff like this."
Diamond laughed and then said,
"I bet you made him wish he never tried that little stunt, huh?"
"Oh, you better believe it. I think he went home and cried after that. You should have seen him. He looked like a little boy asking for his ball back."
"So, why do you hate him?" Diamond asked.
"I don't even hate him. I can't hate him. But it's like he's so childish. And then he flaunts his intelligence like there's no tomorrow. I can't stand people like that. But then check this. He thinks I always pick on him because I like him." "It's the truth. You like me." "He wishes." Diamond laughed again and added,
"Right? He comes up to your house to... Wait, why'd he come over to your house in the first place?"
"'Cause he wanted to be my friend."
"Swear to Bob."
"I swear." "He said he thought we'd be best friends by now. He told my mom we could be a pain in the butt together." Diamond shrieked into the phone as she laughed, then yelled,
"Veronica finally got a boo!"
and shrieked again. Veronica vehemently denied that she wanted to be with Ted.
Just that Ted said that to her mom.
"I told him we'd never get together and that I'd be better off never meeting him. And you're here trying to call him my boo?"
"I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Y'all got a connection," Diamond said as she continued to giggle into the phone. "At least he came forward with it. I say, give him a chance."
"And I say, you can go kick rocks," Veronica shot back as Diamond kept giggling.
All right, I'll quit playing. But answer me this," Diamond said, trying to calm down. "What do you really think he wants? Do you really think he likes you, or is it something different?"
"I don't know. I'll figure it out later."
"Maybe he really does just want to be friends. I mean, like Derek said."
"Derek?"
"Oh, right. I ran into him at the store a while ago. We talked."
"About?" Veronica asked, starting to crack a smile as she FaceTimed her best friend. Diamond was a bit nervous because Veronica always teased her about boys, and Derek was the first name that always came up. There was no way she was going to mention that she'd given a long friendship hug to him, not now at least. But she wouldn't be lying if she told her the other part of their conversation.
"Oh, he told me about how he was happy to live here instead of back in his hometown. I kind of miss my old home, but he didn't want to go back, even for a visit."
That's interesting," Veronica answered. "Seems like a deep conversation, the kind that only happens between good friends." Diamond knew where this was going, and sure enough, Veronica asked, "Did he get the hug?"
"A short one, okay?" Diamond answered defensively.
Veronica immediately burst into laughter as she screamed, "I knew it! I knew it! It wasn't like that. Diamond and Derek sitting in a tree. Kissing." Diamond hung up the phone, trying in vain to escape the endless ridicule her friend would dole out. But she knew there was nothing she could do. If she didn't return Veronica's call, which was going to be coming through any second now, she'd be getting her door kicked in within minutes. And there would be no escape then. Just then, Diamond received a text message. It was a picture, actually a screenshot of Diamond's contact info. The phone number was the same, but the name changed. Diamond Forte Reed. Her eyebrows shot up in horror. That name sounded terrible. Diamond Reed? No thanks. Diamond replied with a screenshot of her own. She photoshopped pictures of Ted and Veronica onto another couple's photo and captioned it, "The Addison family." Then she wrote, "Veronica Addison has a nice ring to it." Hopefully that would keep her off Diamond's back for a day or so. Later that night, Amber was lying on her bed in her pajamas, waiting and waiting for a phone call or a text or anything that would tell her what James thought of her. At least if he said no, she'd know not to bother getting ready for tomorrow. Being stuck in limbo felt almost as bad as outright rejection. She wondered, though, if what she wrote was too indirect and passive. I should have asked him to let me know whether he wanted to go or not. At least then I could bzzz, bzzz, bzzz. Amber jumped up and grabbed the phone, anxious for James's answer. Or just to hear his voice, or convince him that she was worth his time. But then she looked at the phone and saw it was her dad, of all people. She was both annoyed at her dad and saddened, as James still hadn't called her. Maybe he'd never call. Monday was going to be awkward beyond belief.
"Hey, I'm at Sherbertland. Want me to pick up a slushie for you?" Mr. Rodriguez asked.
"No thanks, Dad," she answered, clearly deflated. Concerned, her dad asked if she was okay, but Amber said she didn't want to talk about it.
"If I bring you a slushie, will you drink it?"
"I might, but I don't think I'd feel any better. Thanks though, Poppy. I just want to be alone right now.